Hello everyone and welcome to Red, White, and Blue Woodworking. Today I'm going to show you how to make some really simple and affordable wooden chairs. Stay tuned. So here I'm just marking some lines at 22 inches, 37.5, 41.5, 63.5, 79, and 83 inches. If you didn't catch that, it'll pop up right here. By the way, right here I'm just using the 2x3 and this is going to be the back legs of the chair. Once you cut all the pieces for the 2x3, you're going to want to go over to the table saw and cut them all to 1.5 inches wide. Once you've done that, you're going to want to go over to your 2x3 and mark lines at 14, 28, 41.25, 55.25, 69.25, 83.25, and 95.75. Come pretty close to using all the wood here. After the 1x4, you're going to go over to your 1.5 by 1 inch piece, and you're going to make cuts at 19.5, 39, 58.5, and 78. So this part's a little confusing, but these are for the legs, and what you're going to do is you're going to want to make a roughly 10-degree angle for the longer pieces of the legs, and for the more medium-sized pieces of the legs, you're going to want to make about a 12-degree angle. So you're going to want to make these angles parallel with each other on both ends of the legs. This will give the angle to the back legs of the chair. Here I recommend going 0.35 inches up on the wood to get a good angle. I cut mine a little bit wide, but as you can tell in the end, it didn't really make too much of a difference. So to connect these legs, I'm going to use dowels. Here I'm just marking some lines. I recommend doing them closer to the center of the piece of wood so that the dowels don't poke out the ends. So here I'm just drilling some holes for the dowels. I did 2 in each side of the leg, and this was pretty secure for the back legs and worked out pretty well. So I forgot to get this part on video. I'm just putting the dowels in the holes and hammering them together with glue. I use Tite Bond Original. And to get the angled piece of wood clamped down, I used a straight edge and tightened the piece to that straight edge, and then tightened the 4-inch bar clamp until the angles were seamless. And I just have a picture of what that looks like from a outside view. And here I am making the front legs for the chairs out of the 1-inch by 1.5-inch pieces that we cut. And yeah, I just let those sit overnight. So here it's obviously the next morning because it's a lot brighter, and I'm just taking the front legs out of the clamps. After that, we're going to move over to the planer and make sure that those are smooth and try to remove the rounded over edges. So for the 3 pieces that are going to be on our backrest, the 3 14-inch pieces, you're going to want to cut those down to 3 inches wide, and you're also going to want to plane those to 0.5 inches wide. After I took the back legs out of the clamps, I moved over to the planer for those also. I wanted to get them smooth and remove all the pencil marks. So here I am just moving to sanding everything, and I started with 120 grit and moved up to 220. Here I'm just using a handheld planer that I have. I know not everybody has a handheld planer or a planer in general, but I recommend getting one if you're going to make a lot of chairs. And here I'm just doing some more sanding. Really be patient with this because if you don't sand enough, it'll come out blotchy in the end. So this really pays off if you spend a lot of time sanding. And I also ended up chamfering the edges. Here I'm just setting up my palm router for some mortises. I set up a little jig so I could hold the pieces in while I was doing it, and this really paid off as there were really strong connections later for the back rails or rest for the chairs. So just be patient with this and it will pay off. Also, go over it with a chisel after you are done cutting them with a router. So after you're done cutting 3 mortises on each leg, you're going to want to move over to your assembly process. Here I use more Tite Bond glue between each joint. After this, I hammered in each of the back rails that we cut earlier. And to connect the inside rails, I use pocket holes. Sorry, this is a really fast video, but I was trying to keep this video short. And here I'm just gluing up the front legs, and I use some lids to provide a little bit of space between the workbench and the legs, and this also raised the front part a little bit and made it look a little bit better in the end. And here I'm just installing some screws, and this is a pretty strong joint. I know some people say pocket hole screws aren't as secure, but for all the other chairs that I've used pocket hole screws in, they've all lasted for years and not shown any sign of wearing out. And here I'm just doing more assembly using the spacers, and this was working out pretty well for me. Also, just make sure to reinforce every joint with more glue. And here I'm just installing the bottom back rail using the spacers, then flipping it over and using the pocket hole screws. And here are the finished skeletons of the chairs. Next I moved over to cutting the seats, and everybody's is going to be a little bit different. Mine happened to come around 16.5 inches long, but everybody's is going to be a little bit different, as I said. And here I'm just cutting out some notches for the seat to slide right into the chair base that we have made. And here I'm just cutting away some excess on the sides because the board was not perfectly even. So here I'm making the cushion, and I got 2 inches of foam and some fabric that I could use from Walmart, or you can go to Hobby Lobby also. And you just want to hold the piece of foam down and staple in around all the edges. So here I'm staining. I used a dark walnut and cherry kind of mix, Minwax, and just make sure that you've sanded 220 or even more than that. And I possibly could have sanded a little bit more, and just realized that the more you sand it, the better it will turn out. And after a little while, you're going to want to wipe away all the excess stain. I'd say probably 30 minutes. And I waited another few hours and came back and sanded and put polyurethane on the entire chair. And now you're basically finished. All you have to do is just install some hardware. I used 2 little L brackets, and that was about it. Sorry this video ran a little bit long. I was trying to keep it within 12 minutes, but didn't turn out that way because I had 40 minutes of footage. So that just about wraps everything up. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I certainly enjoyed building the chair. Also, make sure to subscribe. This was my very first video, and I do plan on making a video a week. And if you want to see this how to make this cutting board, I will hopefully be coming out with a video soon about that, or the 1776 flag. Also, comment down below what you want to see built, and I will definitely see it and respond. Thank you all for watching. Have a good day.